Hello and welcome to Universal Love Law. Today I wanted to make a video regarding two universal laws, the law of cause and effect and the law of correspondence. Now, I'm creating this video for people to remember what you already wrote in your story. Before we were born, there were soul contracts, there were agreements, there were soul evolution requirements for us to ascend in our journey. Now, a lot of people that we come into contact with in our life are catalysts to transform us or are a part of our journey to bear witness to our struggles, to our achievements, our accomplishments, our triumphs, all of those things, good and bad, light and dark. So knowing that, we have to always remember when we're walking in true alignment with our higher self and our higher truth, that is a process. We have to go through all of the different stages of the process from start to finish. And this is a part of the illusion, right? Maya is earth, is illusion. Earth is Maya, the illusion, the realm we come to learn. And everything that is designed here is in a correspondence. Correspondence is the universal law, as above, so below, as within, so without. So everything that we are living here is a replication of what is happening on a higher dimension in an unseen realm, metaphysically, beyond this physical. So if we have, so in the law of correspondence, you think on earth there is systems like the court systems where there are judges, there are lawyers, there are witnesses, and the same thing is happening in our everyday life. And I really want to point out spiritual witnesses, because there are people that are in your physical world witnessing what you're experiencing, and as above so below, they are able to speak to your situation in the spirit realm when it comes to judgment over your life, over your choices, and recreating a new soul contract and a new manifestation and a new reincarnation and a new life cycle for the soul to evolve. So everything that you are here to do now or doing now is already played out. And the choice that you make, the free will that you're granted, will determine the path that you move towards or move down. So you can move towards a path that's not on the path of your highest good, vice versa. And there are debts that are collected karmically that will require you to balance it out in a future lifetime or in this lifetime. That becomes generational curses, what they say, all of these things, right? Or generational curse breakers, right? So we think about the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, right? We have these spiritual witnesses that are the people in our life witnessing the choices we're making and everything. There's also those unseen witnesses, those spiritual guides, those spiritual observers that are not visible to you. So this is where cause and effect comes into play. Everything that you do in the dark will come to the light. It's important that your thoughts, your actions, and your intentions are aligned with your highest truth, because it will balance out the karma. It will make your life a lot easier, and it will keep you in alignment and closer to source, which is the opening for your blessings. When you operate in a lower vibrational state of fear, shame, guilt, pride, envy, these are not actions and thoughts and intentions that are being unnoticed. Correspondence shows you that, as above, so below, what you're doing, even if it's in your head, your thoughts negatively, they're being recorded, and everything will balance itself out. That is what the universe was designed for in this realm of reality called Maya, Earth, the illusion. Okay? And I say that because I had a situation where there's someone that was really like obsessed with me. I didn't understand why, and I'm like, what is going on? And I've been there too, where I was really obsessed with someone else, especially when I was younger. Like, I used to have that issue bad. Now, I am a Mercury Scorpio. I am a Scorpio 8th house stellium. So obsession is something that is very real for me. I always need to balance it out with that opposition with the Taurus energy. My South Node is in the second house Taurus energy as well. So it's important that I don't overstimulate myself with thoughts of obsession, and I allow things to play out. Right? I knew that was going to happen. So that's me. That's my own personal evolution and something that I recognize. But in that obsession stage where there are thoughts going on in a person's mind that the other person is unaware of, you might think that you are spying. You might think that you're aware of things, or you know things that this person doesn't know. You know. But in all actuality, there is energy that is being emitted in your actions, because energetically you are emitting a lower consciousness, and this will come back up and be revealed into truth, because we're all here to align with our highest truth. And as the story unfolds and we remember what we agreed to in our soul contracts, whether that leads us to the higher path or the lower paths in life, we all come to a conclusion that was already known to us. And this is the process of the veil of forgetfulness. We come here and we forget what we agreed to and what we're assigned to, and we're left with these different encodings that we put in our life: stories, dreams, situations, scenarios, epiphanies, aha moments, deja vus. These are all the signs that synchronizes our life back onto our higher path of higher truth. We're all rooting for our lower self. Our higher selves are rooting for our lower selves to align with our highest truth. But it's easy for us to get off path because we have free will. We can choose to make poor decisions or good decisions, and it won't be a condemnation on us. Like, I don't know if that's a word, but like where we're bad and we're thrown into hell. But we could create hell on earth for ourselves, or we can create heaven on earth for ourselves. But everything is a process. So it's okay for us to be operating in lower vibrations or a lower consciousness when we are unaware or unawoken. But if we choose to stay in that, when we've been given the signs that we have already given to ourselves before birth, our pre-birth, we detach, we separate ourselves further from the source. So that's why it's important that we live in our truth, even if it hurts. And a lot of that requires transformation and letting things go, learning the lessons and moving forward, having faith to know that better days are coming, better opportunities are coming, and it was all a part of the bigger picture and plan. And some people are meant to stay along in those journeys, and some people are meant to fall to the wayside. It doesn't mean that this person is, or this thing, or this situation is the entire book. Maybe they were just a part of the chapters of your life story. So, remembering, corresponding, as above, so below. What you do in the dark will always be revealed to the light. It's always being bear witnessed. And there is a spiritual court of law where you are being recorded. This is why always striving for being a better person and doing better is the greatest thing that you could ever do for yourself and for your soul awakening. Yes, there are restrictions. Yes, there are contractual agreements that require a certain amount of time in that process. So you might see people that are in sticky situations that they obligated themselves into, or that they sometimes involving children, sometimes involving family, sometimes involving career, sometimes involving obligations, contracts, agreements, that we stay in for far too long, and we create more turmoil for ourselves. And we really don't have to choose that path, but we will be in that path for however long we choose to ignore the greater truths that are screaming at us throughout our journey. We know when we're making a decision that's based on the right thing to do in your process, when you see your life is being rewarded for the actions and deeds. But when you see your life is falling apart, I remember in my past, I would try to hold together things that were lessons for me, and I was trying to hold on to them because there was no way I was going to lose what I worked so hard for. And that's pride. And you invest so much into a person or into a job or into anything, and you expect to get a greater return or a return on your investment, but sometimes you don't get that because it wasn't designed for it to be that in a long-term situation. So when you know the cause and effect of your actions, you know that you've been doing well, you've been trying hard, you've been putting effort in, then you see life is not rewarding that area, then it might be a greater lesson that you are just not seeing yet. And it requires one to step back and ask for support. That is where our guides come into play. That is where our spiritual support comes into play. That's what we have something called discernment, intuition, that screams at us and it tells us what it is that we need in order to grow, in order to evolve out of these situations. And so I say all that to say everything that I went through when I was younger was designed for this moment. And being born in a family where my mom and dad did not raise me, and I was taken as a child, I was abandoned, I was neglected, I was alone, it made me the type of person in the past who would really try to hold on to things for too long. And I used to say, why me? But now I see it was designed because these people that I were trying to hold on to because of the fear of my childhood were catalysts in my spiritual awakening growth. The moment that I stood in my truth and recognized that there's a lesson at play here, a lesson of self-love, a lesson of choosing myself over choosing pain, and to no longer perform, to keep, to hold, to control, to bound people or things into my life, then I was able to wake up. But it had the original wound, the core wound of abandonment, neglect, all of that was written. That was destiny. And so my great aunt who adopted me and raised me, she was a part of my soul contract. She agreed to come into my life for a certain amount of time to keep me isolated. This speaks to my 12th house Saturn. I was very isolated. I felt like I was in jail as a kid. Like I was alone a lot. And I used to have reoccurring dreams of being in a desert, and I would be walking and nothing was there. No, it wasn't like a desert in Mexico. It was like the desert in the Middle Eastern dry desert, straight sand. And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for someone to save me. And a train would come. The train came so late and I was so tired. And then when the train came, I got on the train and then it dropped me off into the city. And the city was busy. Everybody, right when I got off the train, it was escalators. People were going everywhere. And I would wake up. This was a reoccurring dream. And it took until now me waking up, me growing up. And my spirit implanted these dreams in my childhood so that I could remember. So the desert was symbolic for being isolated, being alone. And the waiting for something to save me. I have to save myself. That was a lesson That was one of my core key lessons in this lifetime, to save myself. But I was looking for all of these things externally to save me, to feel whole, to feel belonging. This is why I talk about voids all the time. Also, the train represented that coming to life, something coming to save me, something coming. You're being called on a mission and you're going to be transported somewhere. So I'm being transported to this place where everybody knows where they're going. They're moving quickly and I don't know where I'm going. I don't even know where I am. And this is what symbolically replicated in my life when I became an adult and I had to make those decisions to cut off the things that I thought was saving me, and to find my way in this busy world, to find my tribe in a world where I don't fit in. And so everything is already revealed to us. Now, because of programming and social conditioning, I had this traditional mindset. I will break the curse that was put onto me. My mom, she didn't raise me, and so I'm gonna raise my children. My father wasn't in my life, so I'm gonna have my children's father in their life. All of these things is what I met. The fate that was inevitable, what I feared the most, because it was about a life death transformation, a rebirth that rose me into a higher consciousness, to where I'm able to philosophically express the creativity of life, the co-creation of life, and how we agree to these situations and scenarios in order to evolve our soul into a higher realm of reality. And the law of correspondence was just that, right? As above, so below. My internal world was a reflection of what was going on symbolically on a soul level. I needed to experience these challenges that a lot of people would not be able to make it through. Homelessness, having to walk away from your children in order to find your footing in this world where you don't even know where you belong. Everything was designed for my greater good, and I didn't know. The things that I feared the most, I ended up creating. So we have to love without strongholds. We have to know when something has served its purpose in our life, when to let go. Because when we hold on, we create more karma, and every cause has an effect. If I'm growing resentment and I'm growing fears of doubt, then I will manifest that. Because every cause, which are these thoughts, which are these actions that are trying to protect myself, it's a survival mode I'm performing to keep these things in my world, will inevitably crash, and the illusion, which is Maya, our earthly lesson in school, will crumble. And what are we left with? Our highest truth. So do what you want with this message. I hope that it reaches you and you begin to put the puzzle and pieces of your life together to help you evolve in your world. It is the 4th of July today, so happy 4th if you see this today. But I hope you're doing well wherever you are. And remember, it's a process. If you're here watching this video, it's all gonna unfold in a beautiful way. So